The people of the tiny land of Avalonia have forever lived within the walls of its gigantic mountains. However, father-son exploration team of Jaeger and Searcher Cade seek to find a way out for their people to survive and thrive. However, just as it seems they've managed to find a way over the mountains, Searcher happens to locate the Pando plant, a small energy-generating plant, and decides that maybe utilizing this might actually help the valley out more than, say, just finding an escape route. An angry Jaeger storms off into the snowy mists, while Searcher elects to stay behind and begin cultivating the Pando plant. Over the next 25 years, Avalonia slowly turns into a technological utopia. However, things aren't entirely hunky-dory, as Searcher has managed to notice that his son Ethan is slowly developing explorer-like tendencies and not a desire to just stay back and run the family farm. Added to that, a blight has suddenly appeared in the Pando crop, and they need to trace it all the way back to its original source to try to figure out what the heck is going on. Searcher winds up joining a small exploration team to investigate a mysterious cavern that has popped up near some of the Pando mines. Unbeknownst to him, Ethan is actually stowed away as they enter this cavern and discover a rather uncanny ecosystem. Journeying throughout this bizarre landscape turns up not only a bunch of mysterious gelatinous creatures who seem to want to just absorb everything, but also a very quite still alive Jaeger Cade. Jaeger is still dead set on trying to find a way out of the valley, however everyone else is more concerned about the Pando. Yet 3 generations of Cades are going to have to work together to solve the mystery of the strange world. Okay, hopefully that made sense. Unfortunately, this took a lot of takes to get through. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, so this is the new animated film from Disney. And yeah, I pretty much explained the plot right there. Yeah, it's about... There's a lot of messages going on. There's the idea of family legacy and what a family legacy should be. It's about being a father and kind of what makes a good father, and even when you think you're being a good father, you might not necessarily be that. It's about respecting personal beliefs and boundaries. It has the 494th Disney's first gay character in the form of Ethan, who has a love interest, very briefly named Diaso. And then of course, there's also the mystery of the strange world and how it came to be and how that all turns out. I'll try not to be too spoilery about that, but there's one thing there's a theory I will postulate a little bit later on. But yeah, that is basically the motif of this, is they, trying to figure out where this blight is coming from leads them into the strange world, and, through a lot of circumstances and shenanigans, they encounter, like I said, these kind of gelatinous creatures that Jaeger calls Reapers, but one that Ethan manages to befriend he dubs, I believe, Splats. And also there's a three-legged dog named Legend, and Meridia, who is Searcher's... See, you have Jaeger, Searcher, Meridia, and then Ethan. Anyway, yeah, Searcher's wife is Meridian, and sometimes Meridia, sometimes Meridian. I can't remember which one it is. And then, sort of through all of that, they're commissioned by the leader of the valley, who was also part of the initial exploration team, to find a way out. Once they find Jaeger, he sort of explains, like, I realized you can't get up over these mountains, like no hot air balloon, you can't fly over them, there's just no means to get out. The mountains are just way too high. So I hit on the idea, when I found this cavern and looked through these sort of series of tunnels, I realized, hey, maybe I could just get through the tunnels, through the mountains instead. But that, itself winds up having some hazards, as there's a acid sea that he encountered, so that he was unable to cross. However, when the crew arrives with their airship, that changes things. And there's like a nice sort of steampunky aesthetic going on in Avalonia. I can't say this name. That's one of the reasons why it's taken so many takes. Yeah, like there's this nice kind of steampunk aesthetic. There's sort of airships and blimps and skiffs and that sort of thing. And then there's, but there's also like cars and planes and, there's crop dusting, and I don't think there's like television or anything, but there's little bits of that. Ethan is into playing this, role-playing game type aesthetic where it's, I'm trying to think what it's called. It's like Planet Outpost or something like that, where you're supposed to build a civilization and you're supposed to utilize everything. Like you're supposed to utilize farming and mining, and you're not supposed to just travel around and fight things. There's a point you encounter a poison spider and you think, well, I have to kill the spider to protect your crops or to protect myself. But then it turns out the spider eats the locusts that feed on your crops. So it's like that kind of idea is going on there too. The I guess communalism to an extent, and respect. Like I said, there's also an environmental message, but there's also the idea of a strained relationship. The relationship between a father and a son. A searcher breaks away from Jaeger because he really doesn't want to be an explorer anymore. It's like, I've been through so many harrowing experiences. I don't want to live this anymore. And Jaeger, has the thirst for adventure. But Searcher just wants to settle down and be a farmer because he has better control over things that way. But, at this, in turn, flips around on him with Ethan, where he wants Ethan to be the farmer, but Ethan now, kind of wants to spread his wings and fly. Whether that means being an explorer or not, I don't know. Also, there's a very unique twist in this. Searcher's mother, Jaeger's wife, is not dead, but rather, since Jaeger has been missing for 25 years, she is actually moved on and remarried, because I guess he got declared dead at some point. There's a point where he says she's gone. I was like, he's like, my wife is dead. I was like, no, she remarried. I mean, you were gone for so long, we declared you dead. So, yeah, there's a little bit of a humor point in there. Like I said, overall, it's a decent story. I think definitely some really good animation. The landscape is very colorful and unique, and a lot of exploration is done in this place, and it's very breezily paced. Like, there's not really a lot of dead points in it. If I have any other real complaints, that the characters are pretty one note. Like I said, the characters are all pretty one note. There's obviously Jaeger, who's the explorer, the adventure guy. There's Searcher, who just wants to be a farmer and be quiet. There's Ethan, the rapscallion teenager. There's Meridia, who's the doting wife, but also has a bit of an adventure side to her. And, there's Callisto, who's the leader, who, just wants the best for her people, but sometimes doesn't realize that that might not mean giving the people what they want. There's a three-legged dog named Legend. And there's this one character who's supposed to be like this big Jaegercade fanboy, but he doesn't do anything at all. He is so pointless. It's just like, you're there to be comic relief, and you're not even good comic relief. Like the dog and Spots or whatever the gelatinous thing's name are way more comic relief than the than the comic relief guys. So there's like I said, the characters are pretty one note. Like, the story explores some good ideas with them, but the characters are not particularly deep. Still, though, this is a really fun idea. I will say this, again, this is my little theory I'm postulating. Given the fact that the energy generating plant is called Pando, and they're talking about certain mountains and lifebloods of the planet, and the idea, part of the idea is, the Pando is all, the buds pop up through the ground, but they're all connected to one kind of central seed or root, for lack of a better term. Is this meant to be a covert Avatar spinoff that we just didn't realize? Because there's a lot of similarities between this and a certain movie that's coming out in just under a month. So I couldn't help but notice that. Still, though, like I said, overall, this was fun. I liked it. Like I said, the characters are a little flat, but other than that, you'll have a good time watching this. I am going to give Disney's Strange World an A. Uh, it's really fun. It's a good family film to watch before the holidays, I think. Kids will be occupied just enough to have some fun. Parents can shut their brain off a little bit, enjoy a little bit of bits and pieces here and there, can understand some of the themes pretty easily. So it's not horrendously dense. It's not overly saccharine. There's not really a lot of like tear-jerking moments, but there's still a lot of enjoyment in this.
Sleeping Beauty will marry the prince.
Will change your look so many ways. And now, a surprise. When the prince sees his beautiful bride, he won't believe his eyes. Belle, your dress from the ball is now the prettiest wedding gown of all. Cinderella will dress you this way, and the prince will marry you today. Each Disney Princess Fantasy fashion style comes with transforming throne, each sold separately.
Okay, trailer time, and we got mostly new trailers here. I guess seeing a family film kind of helps. Films aren't aimed more towards, say, teenagers, where you're more likely to just get the same ones over and over again. We got mostly new trailers here. We got only 5. We got Elemental, the new Pixar film, the live-action Little Mermaid, Super Mario Brothers. Then we rounded off with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and of course Avatar: The Way of Water. So yeah, that was pretty much it right there. Elemental looks interesting, and that I don't think we've ever really seen Pixar do a love story before. At least this, if you don't know, it's a land where all the elemental forces live together. Earth, wind, fire, water. A couple other ones, like plants, I think, are in there too. So yeah. So there's like dirt, but there's also steam and clouds and gas and wind. Yeah, so you get the idea. And you see this little fire ember who's listening to some music, and she encounters a drop of water, and it's like, can they get along even though, water famously puts out fire? So, yeah, like, I'm trying to think if there's ever been one where that type of thing where that's like the main thrust, like, maybe you could argue like The Incredibles with its family motif, but, that's only like the first little bit, and then we jump to the future where they're already married. And then there's Ratatouille where, the, female chef is, eventually does fall in love with, I can't think what his first name is, the character in that, but, other than that, it's like, I don't think there's ever been one where it's like a true, like, romance story. So, just, could be kind of interesting there. Little Mermaid, okay. I was about to turn 9 years old when The Little Mermaid came out. I was a boy. I was not into girly things at all. So, yeah, I really have no opinion on the live-action Little Mermaid remake, if that's going to be any good. I don't think it necessarily will, but, Mario looks fine. I know people are harping on about Chris Pratt's voice. I don't care. It looks like it's going to be decent. Puss in Boots, I will probably be... the last 2 are the movies I'm probably going to be seeing theatrically in December. They're right next to each other on the schedule, I believe. I think Avatar comes out on the 15th. Yeah, and the 21st is... Or 14th, I guess, is an Avatar. Or are they the same? I can't remember. Next video is going to be the Survivor Series recap and review. Then there'll, of course, be the Men. We'll do the next 2 episodes of the Santa Clauses. I know Willow premieres next week, but again, I don't know if they're putting the first 2 episodes up of that or not, but I'm going to have to put that off a little bit until December, just to try to get a little bit of breathing room sometimes. Then the random trade review on Ambush Bug Year None. Like I said, theatrically, the next one's, I think it's Avatar, because that's the first one that's out. Then Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. I'll do The Glass Onion, that's not a theatrical release, that'll be direct to Netflix, so I know it's getting a theatrical release right now, but For that, I'm willing to. Yeah, it's like I have to wait till till it's on Netflix in December. So I'll do that one. I already said January is going to be the catch-up month for a lot of stuff I've missed already. So that should wrap things up right there. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember you can request a movie or a television series for me to review at my Patreon at patreon.com/CPTime4Cat Productions. Also, remember to like the video, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that you can be alerted to further videos.